episode 79 of Girl Take the Lead, and this is a soundbite. A soundbite is a shorter episode from our longer form podcast, or it can be a quick inspiration, which is what our episode is today. And I'm your host, Yocanny. Today's episode comes from the book Warriors of the Heart by Danaan Parry. And this parable is called the Parable of the Trapeze, which is about turning the fear of transformation into the transformation of fear. And the parable begins like this. Sometimes I feel my life is a series of trapeze swings. I'm either hanging onto a trapeze bar swinging along, or for a few minutes in my life, I'm hurtling across space in between trapeze bars. Most of the time, I spend my life hanging on for dear life to my trapeze bar of the moment. It carries me along at a certain steady rate of swing, and I have the feeling that I'm in control of my life. I know most of the right questions and even some of the answers. But every once in a while, as I'm merrily or not so merrily swinging along, I look out ahead of me into the distance, and what do I see? I see another trapeze bar swinging toward me. It's empty, and I know, in that place in me that knows, that this new trapeze bar has my name on it. It is my next step, my growth, my aliveness coming to get me. In my heart of hearts, I know that for me to grow, I must release my grip on this present, well-known bar and move to the new one. Each time it happens to me, I hope, no, I pray, that I won't have to let go of my old bar completely before I grab the new one. But in my knowing place, I know that I must totally release my grasp on my old bar, and that for some moment in time, I must hurtle across space before I can grab onto the new bar. Each time I am filled with terror. It doesn't matter that in all my previous hurdles across the void of unknowing, I have always made it. I am each time afraid that I will miss and I will be crushed on unseen rocks in the bottomless chasm between bars. I do it anyway. Perhaps this is the essence of what the mystics call the faith experience. No guarantees, no net, no insurance policy, but you do it anyway because somehow to keep hanging on to that old bar is no longer on the list of alternatives. So, for an eternity that can last a microsecond or 1,000 lifetimes, I soar across the dark void of the past is gone. The future is not yet here. It's called transition. I have come to believe that this transition is the only place that real change occurs. I mean, real change, not the pseudo change that only lasts until the next time my old buttons get punched. I have noticed that in our culture, this transition zone is looked upon as a no thing, a no place between places. Sure, the old trapeze bar was real, and that new one coming towards me, I hope that's real too. But the void in between, is that just a scary, confusing, disoriented nowhere that must be gotten through as fast and as unconsciously as possible? No. What a wasted opportunity that would be. I have a sneaking suspicion that the transition zone is the only real thing, and the bars are illusions we dream up to avoid the void, where the real change, the real growth occurs for us. Whether or not my hunch is true, it remains that the transition zones in our lives are incredibly rich places. They should be honored, even savored. Yes, with all the pain and fear and feelings of being out of control that can, but not necessarily, accompany transitions. They are still the most alive, most growth filled, passionate, expansive moments in our lives. We cannot discover new oceans unless we have the courage to lose sight of the shore. So, transformation of fear may have nothing to do with making fear go away, but rather with giving ourselves permission to hang out in the transition between trapezes, transforming our need to grab that new bar, any bar, is allowing ourselves to dwell in the only place where change really happens. It can be terrifying. It can also be enlightening in the true sense of the word. Hurtling through the void, we just may learn how to fly. Thank you for being with us today, and we hope that you enjoyed this episode. And stay tuned for more sound bites to come. Talk to you soon. Bye.